Welcome to the AA Sports Podcast, minor league feel with major league discussion. Here are your hosts, Alan and Alan.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 41 of the AA Sports Podcast. We are your hosts, Alan and Alan.
What's up, man?
Not a whole lot, man. It's going to be a long night. It's election night tonight.
Selection week. Who
yeah, exactly right.
Who are we kidding this year with all these mail-in and absentee and all that's taken?
Yeah,
we're not going to know for at least a day or two.
Well, you know what's crazy is I saw that some of the states allowed mail-in ballots, but they will not count them if they're not there today, even if they're postmarked prior to. They have to be in. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's going to affect a lot of things, but I feel like a lot of people took advantage of mail-ins this year.
When there was
with Corona,
they're predicting, or what they counted, like roughly 100 million already, when we only had 120, 30 million last big election.
Yeah, and I can tell that a lot of people must have taken advantage of early voting, at least because the polls were pretty empty when I went.
Oh God, yeah, I walked right in, walked right out.
Exactly, yeah, and that normally doesn't happen.
Usually, it's at least like a 20, 30 minute wait. I've always done,
and I appreciate going in and out.
Works for me.
Well, anyways, let's talk about some baseball.
So off-season talks, really not much to talk really yet. We talked about the two new managers last week. But this comment from our commissioner of baseball has got some feathers on a lot of people.
Yeah. What do you have to say?
So pretty much he is one of the most disliked commissioners of all sports, just behind Roger Goodell. He clearly isn't in the goodwill tour following the conclusion of the MLB season. In a recent interview, he actually kind of saw a benefit from a neutral site World Series. You should always think about innovation, Manfred told the Daily. I wouldn't say neutral site World Series is completely off the table. There were things that we saw in Texas that would take advantage of us. You can plan, you can take out travel, you can pick sites that eliminate weather problems. Those are all worthy conversations and discussions. I think the big weight on the scale will be favored with traditional format. The thing that really matters at the end of the day are fans in the home market. This is just a terrible idea.
I agree.
Very terrible. It's the idea of neutral site works for things like football because it's the norm. It's one game, not
a series.
7. It's huge inconvenience for big fans, the fans.
Right. Where's the home team getting the home team advantage at a neutral site?
Yeah.
That's a big deal. And the All-Star games used to count for the home field advantage because you want to have 7 games at home, or 4 games at home where your fans are in the stands.
Yeah.
If you go to a neutral site, who knows what kind of fans you're going to get? You know what I'm saying? It's just weird.
Majority, yes. Dodger fans were at Texas, probably a little more convenience, or a lot of people have been leaving California for Texas.
But if you get into a smaller market, if they make it to the World Series, they don't have no backing because all the big players are going to have their fans who can travel, but the smaller markets might not.
Yeah.
But if you have home field advantage, you got the fans in the stands when you're playing at home. That's huge.
Yeah. There's multiple people, I think Darren from the 7 line said he had the opportunity to go to the World Series, but he didn't feel like quarantined for 2 weeks after he came back from the World Series.
Yeah, man.
So there's all this, but I just think it's a terrible, terrible idea.
Yeah, they got a lot of questionable ideas like that. Like you said, he wants to have a neutral site for the World Series, and and no more DH for the NL next year. It's like you're picking the wrong things to keep and not keep.
Yeah, I think the DH thing comes down to the contract. They still have 1 more year, and they don't think they can try to fight it neutral ground. So it might have to. I hope they can work it out because I thought it was
good. I thought it was good.
And it helped a lot of teams, especially with control and playing extra players. But we'll see in the winter meetings, even though it's going to be weird because it is virtual. So it's not like you can people can go there and hear rumblings of talking and stuff. You kind of got to be somehow in the Zoom call. So it's interesting for that. So, we'll see what happens with that. It's unfortunate. I hope there's no neutral site World Series in any situation come soon.
Me either, man.
I understand this year was a different year. I'm perfectly fine with that.
The only time I think a neutral site would be cool, I guess, is if we're playing in Japan or some other country or something like that, because those fans would be crazy anyways, regardless of who's there. But at the same time, it doesn't sound good to me. Anyways, let's move on. So let's talk about the Baseball Writers Association and their finalists.
Yeah. So they finally announced the finalists last night. Which at first it threw off because they started with the Cy Young, which will start first. But then they start going to the other categories without announcing the NL. I'm like, am I stupid or did I miss this?
Right.
And I went on Twitter and everything. I'm like, no, they haven't announced it yet. I'm like, why
weird.
did you skip? And then they finally announced it right before MVP. I guess they realized, like, oh, we forgot to do this.
Yeah, well, hey, this year anything can happen.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going on? But the first thing let's get into the AL and NL Cy Young Award finalists.
So for the AL, we have no shocker with Shane Bieber as the first one. The next two were a little shocker, you can say. Two former Dodgers, Kenta Maeda from Minnesota Twins and
Hyunjin Ryu
from Toronto.
which is crazy because think about it. The Dodgers won the World Series and they
lost two pitchers.
Cy Young caliber pitchers.
Yeah.
Nuts.
And remember, Ryu came in second to DeGrom last year.
Yeah.
So now back-to-back years a finalist for Cy Young.
Yeah, exactly. And after they thought that he wasn't the material, right?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
He didn't have the money. Maeda was the material guy.
Okay, Maeda guy. Okay, still, man, and it's interesting because, like you said, you got like two Asian players in the Cy Young Award finalists, and not the ones you're thinking of either. Because I would think maybe Darvish, maybe not now anymore, but I would think like the guy from the Angels, if he was ever pitching, that. I would think his name would be thrown in the mix.
Yeah, definitely. But so Beaver was no surprise. Beaver took home the pitching triple crown, not for American League, but as majors as a whole after finishing fourth in the Cy Young Award last year. The right-hander led all pitchers with wins, ERA, and strikeouts this year.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, like you said, his ERA is like a 1.63, I think. He had 122 strikeouts. This dude was dealing it all season long from the beginning.
Yeah.
If he doesn't win this, I would honestly be shocked.
Yeah, I think it's almost in the bag. We agreed upon it. It was kind of nice for these other two guys to be the finalists.
Yeah, at least to get a mention.
I thought Keuchel was going to be one of the finalists.
Yeah.
So Maeda was one of the possibles. So, but Ryu, they all had great seasons. So,
well, and like you said, Maeda had a great season. The Twins thought he was worth it, even though the Dodgers didn't, and he showed them, I'm that guy. I can be that guy. He led the majors with his WHIP at a .75, and then he finished, I think, the season with a 2.7 ERA. Finished with 6 wins, 1 loss, and 80 strikeouts. And he did that all in 66 and 2/3 innings with 11 starts. What more can you ask for this time?
That's one thing that the Twins needed. They did the 3-team trade to get Maeda, and it worked out for him.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what a full season does for him next year. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I can't wait to see a full season for a lot of these guys because some of these guys, man, these numbers were pretty good. If they could have kept this up through the whole season, wow.
Yeah, then Ryu, after leading the majors last year with a 2.32 ERA, finishing second behind DeGrom, he picked up right where he left off in 20. The left-hander went 5-2, a 2.69 ERA with a 9.7 strikeouts per 9 innings with his first year with the Blue Jays.
Yeah. And like you said, we didn't know what to think of the Blue Jays, but they absolutely showed up this year. They did better than expected, and Ryu was a big part of that.
Yeah, definitely. And they'll look to add to that rotation this offseason to get someone behind him. So he'll benefit from that.
And what's crazy about it is that they were in the most unlikely scenario that benefit them. They had to play in Buffalo, New York. They didn't even get to play in their home field, and they still did pretty good. So, like I said, that we always agree this division is nuts. So I can't wait to see what happens next season.
Oh, definitely. So then the NL Cy Young finalists, not really no shocker. These are the three we all thought.
Absolutely.
Especially coming to that final week, we're like, who's going to get that advantage? We have Trevor Bauer of the Reds, Yu Darvish of the Cubs, and DeGrom from the Mets.
Exactly. As much as I like to think this is locked up, I still have a little glimmer of hope that DeGrom might pull it off. But I honestly feel like this is Bauer's to lose.
Yeah, I think it's going to come to votes.
Yeah.
A lot of people's going to come down to the writers because not every writer got to see them, so they had to go by statistics. So that's one thing. But the biggest thing people are arguing is both Darvish and Bauer faced their weaker opponents.
Agreed.
Compared to DeGrom.
Yes, and we knew this going into the last week. We both said this DeGrom has at least one more start, or I think there might have been 1 or 2 more starts, and we both said, well, if you look at it, DeGrom has faced a harder competition. It just sucks that he didn't pull it together to finish it. But if that gets in his favor, that's fine. But let's start with talking about Bauer.
Yeah, so finished 6th in the AL Cy Young Award back in 2018 with the Indians. He took a step back in 2019, then he got traded. He went 2-5 that year after being traded, but he bounced back this year in a major way, finishing with the NL lead of ERA with a 1.73, struck out 100 batters over 73 innings, allowed 1 run or fewer in 8 of his 11 starts while striking out 12 batters in at least 4 of them.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, pretty solid. Led the NL with a 1.73 ERA, so yeah, great. Darvish, he's a Cubs righty. He was he was doing pretty good because we all know Darvish. We knew he had the potential, but he hasn't really shown it. Like a lot of those
last couple years,
a lot of those players that come over here, like we expect big things, but for some reason, I don't know if it's because it's new scenery or if it's something that they're doing differently here, but it doesn't seem to pan out. But this year, he went 7-0, had a 0.98 ERA. Over 7 starts from July 31st to September 4th. Mm-hmm. But there's second half wasn't as dominant as the first. That's where he kind of fell off. Exactly. But like you said, he ended up with a 2.01 ERA, 93 strikeouts and 12 starts, and finished his season with an 8-3 record. So like I said, great showing, especially for Darvish. Like, man, who knew he had it in him still?
Yeah, this is the big reason why I think Cubs won the division, because the biggest question mark walking into the season was pitching. You had a older John Lesnar. Darvish, you didn't know what Darvish you were getting.
Exactly.
And then, of course, you had Hendricks, which been solid, which he did have a good year. But what Darvish did was put it together, got his win, and that's why he's yet again in the Cy Young Award candidate. And then we have the 2-time defending champ, DeGrom.
Yeah, man. I felt like DeGrom, I don't know if he was trying too hard, but he was definitely trying to shut down every inning.
I think come to the last month, he realized, like, I can do this and set history.
Exactly. I'm not saying he still can't. It's just going to be a lot harder of a road. If he wins it, it is definitely not going to be unanimous.
Yeah, it's not this year no matter what. I think it's going to come down to the votes, first place, second place, third place. And I can't wait to see, once this come out next week, we can break down to see how many votes, because this is going to be a tight race.
Yeah.
No matter what. But, it's a little rocky in September, with Philly outing. Then DeGrom still finished with a respectable 2.38 ERA while leading the NL with 104 strikeouts. He had a 1.67 entering that outing in Philadelphia, and then he struck out 24 batters in his next 2 starts. The following, however, allowed 3 runs in just 2 innings. It was pulled for the hamstring against that night that could loom large.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's been a roller coaster season for him. He had really great outings. He had some that were tough, and then he just didn't finish as strong as he could have. And I don't know if his hamstring had anything to do with it, because he was pitching a game, got beat up and got taken out really quickly after, like you said, he pulled something.
Yeah.
And then instead of like most people, they were going to probably shut most pitchers down, but DeGrom's like, nah, I'm coming back out here for another start.
Good, yeah.
Exactly. And we saw what happened with that. So I don't know if that hurts him. I'm sure it doesn't help. But he does have an argument, though.
Yeah.
He's up here for a reason. He struck out a lot of guys. He led the NL strikeouts, and his ERA was there, and he did face tougher competition.
Yeah.
So he has an argument. There is still a chance.
It's coming down to the votes. Can't wait to see how it breaks down. We're almost certain AL is locked.
Oh,
NL, it's going to be the crazy, like, who is it when they announce it, and then after they announce it, they'll show the votes, and we'll see exactly how close it was.
Yeah, I think, if I was putting my vote in there, I don't know. I'd really have to go through the statistics and really see how much harder his competition was. But just, a quick glimpse at it, I'm thinking Bauer, and then DeGrom, and then Darvish, if I had to choose.
I can see it going like that, too, so we'll have to wait and see. So the next category that was announced was the Rookie of the Year,
All
both
right.
AL and the NL. So the NL finalists, not really shocker. These are 3 people that I had on my list going into it, and it didn't surprise me. So we have Alec Baum from Philly, Jake Comworth from Padres, and then Delvin Williams from Milwaukee.
Yeah, man.
Shocker, of course, is that reliever, but his year, you could not put him as a finalist.
Right. And, looking at this at first, midway through the season, I was thinking Jake Cronenworth was absolutely locked in, but he did cool down some.
Yes.
So that opened up the door for everybody else. So let's start with Alec Boehm.
The case for the club's top prospect living up to it, if not exceeding expectations, was, when he made his debut in middle of August. So he got a late start. So he was about 3 weeks behind for the regular season.
Right.
He was the 3rd overall pick in 2018, but he slashed a 338 with 4 homers, 11 doubles, 20 RBIs, and just 44 games for the Phillies.
Yeah, no, that's pretty solid, especially coming in middle of August.
Yeah.
What else can you ask for?
He's talking a month and a half of baseball,
and he did work. He absolutely took advantage of every opportunity he got to get a pretty good, decent stat line in just a month and a half and some change.
And he was probably a big reason why Philly was kind of in it still going into that final week.
Okay. Then we got Cronenworth. Like I said, there was a point in the season where it was pretty much locked up.
Yeah.
He was going to run away with this. But he slashed a 356, 411, 624 entering September. 16 of his 36 hits were extra base hits, 4 homers, 3 triples, 9 doubles. Like I said, he cooled off near the end. He still finished with a 285, 354, 477 line, 4 home runs, 15 doubles, 3 stolen bases. I think he was doing great, man. I mean, like I said, we liked this team, especially. The whole team was doing great, and he absolutely contributed to it, and it made that team fun to watch.
Yeah, and he wasn't just like the second baseman. Majority, yes, but he played all over the field for them. So there's that factor. He played the whole season in San Diego.
Yeah, exactly.
There's that factor. So you saw a whole season, well, not a whole season, but at least this season from him. So defensively, he was good. He was on a great team who made a lot of noise. Mm-hmm. And if it wasn't for the hype of Machado and Tatis, there would have been a lot more talk about Jake.
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah. Then you have Devin Williams.
Yeah, man.
What can you say? Few pitchers have ever entered a stretch of dominance that he has did this year. The 26-year-old reliever, just 1 earned run in 27 innings pitched. So his ERA was a .33 for the season, while posting a .63 whip, striking out a jaw-dropping 53 batters as a reliever.
Look, man, I like what these guys are doing, especially as a pitcher, because pitchers are hard to come by. And like I said, I knew the pitchers were going to get opportunities, especially in the beginning when we saw all those injuries.
Yeah, and then also we thought about the starting pitchers this year coming in. We're like, okay, but they kind of didn't have a solid year, the rookies. But so Devin was just stayed hot. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, is anyone going to mess with this guy or get to him? Like, 1 earned run. And I think it was only his second outing. After that, he was just out.
I like what he's doing. I like what he's done. 0.33 ERA is nothing to sneeze at, especially when you strike out 53 batters in what was that? Was 20, that in that 27 innings?
Yeah,
bro. He might have my vote. He honestly might.
If I had a vote, I would probably vote Jake and then Devin second.
I agree. I mean, look, I'm not surprised at all if Cronenworth wins it at all.
Yeah,
because he definitely earned it. But like I said, man, what Williams did and to professional hitters as a rookie, it's unreal.
And the thing is, like, people didn't get to see these people, so they go by stat line.
I agree.
Like, how did the writers vote? That's the biggest thing with this year.
If they put in all together who did the most work throughout the whole season, there's an argument to be made for Cronenworth. I don't think Baum's in the conversation. He did great what he did, but I just need there wasn't a big sample size to see if he could have. If it was just like, I don't know, man. My vote's going towards Cronenworth or Williams for sure.
Definitely. And then the AL finalists, one name stick out we knew going into this year, Luis Roberts. And then these other 2 names kind of just creeped in there, especially Kyle Lewis of Seattle, being on a terrible team, just stayed consistent. And then you have Christian Javier from the Houston Astros.
Yeah, man. Like you said, you had Christian Javier from the Astros. Is kind of what they needed. They needed pitching.
Yeah,
especially when they lost. Well, yeah.
And then Verlander.
With Verlander
after the first start.
Whole season. So if they had any shot at all of making it into the postseason, they absolutely needed to pick up in the pitching category. And that's what this kid did for him.
Yeah. The 23-year-old went 5-2 with a 3.48 ERA, 9.9 whip, 12 appearances and 10 starts. You can't ask for much more.
No, that's absolutely what was needed. And this guy probably got himself a whole job now. Like he's earned his spot.
Oh yeah,
for sure,
definitely. And then, like we said, Kyle Lewis, Seattle's first-round pick in 2016, busted onto the scene with dazzling all-around play in 2020. He was tied for the league among all rookies, 11 home runs, while also raking up 5 stolen bases and 1 unforgettable Grand Slam robbery.
Yeah, man. Great job from him. Like you said, Seattle didn't get much time, unless you had the app and you were watching their games because you followed them. You weren't seeing much of the kid.
Yeah.
And then another guy, Luis Roberts, man. This guy was on a fun team again, just like the other guy we talked about, Cronenworth. This guy was on the White Sox. And this guy was so hyped up that he signed a 6-year, $50 million deal even before he made his debut. That is nuts.
Yeah.
And obviously, he came out swinging. He posted a .960 OPS, had 10 home runs in 33 games through August before slowing down some, but he still led rookies with 31 RBIs, and he tied Lewis atop the rookie home run leaderboard. Dude did work.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely worth years and $50 million if he can keep this up. That's a steal for the White Sox.
Well, you think about it. That's pretty much his whole rookie eligibility. So I think they will not have to go to arbitration. He's pretty much, which they might still try to pay him more if he gets worthy, because he might become a disgruntled employee if he keeps this up.
He might be, but will he win? Because we saw what happened with the Cubs and Chris Bryant. He didn't win. He thought he was worth more too, but they were like, "That's too bad."
Yeah.
This guy did good, man. You know what? If I had to pick one person from this group, it's pretty much. I think Luis Roberts definitely earned it, man.
Yeah, Luis Roberts did earn. I think did earn it. It won't surprise me if Luis cracks it barely. I think what's happened with Luis Roberts is going to be that average. He did it sub 300.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, the 31 RBIs for Roberts, of course, with all the White Sox teams, they're on base a lot.
Exactly.
So, it's still way more better benefit for him to hit RBIs.
It sure is. It sure probably is. But I'm not taking anything away from any of these guys either.
No.
Christian Javier could easily win this as well. He did great. As a rookie, what can you ask for? Put somebody in rotation and they actually show up?
Yeah, it's all depending. Like I said, you got 12 appearances, which that's almost what your average starter got for as a pitcher. 10 starts, so really most starters got about 12 starts. So that should be interesting. So,
all right, so let's talk about the AL and NL managers of the year. Looks like the winners will be announced Tuesday, November the 10th on the MLB Network. So let's get into it. The AL finalists, we have Kevin Cash from the Rays, obviously.
Yep.
Charlie Montoyo from Toronto. They did great as well.
Yes.
And then we have Rick Renteria from the White Sox. What's nuts about this, man, is that the White Sox Twitter congratulated Rick Renteria on making it to the finalists. But guess what?
They fired him.
The White Sox fired him. Come on, man.
Yeah. Our postseason pick was Kevin Cash because what he did with that Tampa Bay Rays. Of course, they went to the World Series and were a couple games away from winning it, but going through the whole season, what they did, you can't argue with that pick.
No, I think everybody did pretty good in this. Like, obviously, the Rays, yes.
Yes.
The Rays did great. They went all the way to the show. And, not necessarily favored at the beginning for this. There's a lot of other teams we threw out there. So Kevin Cash absolutely deserves to be on this list. Toronto, Charlie Montoyo did great. Toronto, they had to play in freaking Buffalo.
Yes.
They had to beat the Buffalo Blue Jays for this season. That's not a good start at all. And then you bring the best out of your pitchers that you just acquired and everybody else around you, and you're in a tough division.
Yeah, think about it. Last year, they had 95 losses for the
Yes.
Blue Jays.
Oh,
And
my.
Yes, they only got the 8th seed and then did lose. They got swept by the Rays. But remember, this is just for the regular season
turnaround.
they get picked.
Big turnaround.
And when you were like, they could maybe make some noise. We'll see what this young team does. And they squeaked in and they put it to the Yankees.
Well, because we absolutely thought they needed more than just one pitcher to bring in. Like, we're like, okay, you got a good pitcher.
And they made some few trades.
Right. But they absolutely took advantage of it. I mean, dude, I don't know if they're going to keep this up next season, but definitely did great this year.
And then Renteria, after a 10-win improvement from the 18-19, he helped the White Sox turn to the postseason in 20 for the first time since 2008. Though, they parted ways, still considering after leading the White Sox to a 35-25 mark, best win percentage since they won the World Series back in 2005.
Well, I told you, throughout most of the season, a couple of podcasts you can go back and listen to. I have Rick Renteria as my manager of the year. I've been consistent. I like what he's done. Yes, he didn't take him to the show. He might have, they fell out. But what this team did collectively, was not by accident.
If they didn't have that collapse last week, I think he guaranteed would have said, because they would have clinched the division. Yes. Then you talk about like a guy who they were so terrible, and then they won the division. Yes. So that's why I think Kevin Cash will get it. Blue Jays did it great. Yes. You flipped it from a 90 loss plus team.
Well, right. So Toronto, he's up here because purely he did good enough to get this recognition. But like you said, Kevin Cash absolutely earned his way to get this.
Especially when the Yankees were so heavily favored.
Yes, absolutely. And like I said, Rick Renteria was just a byproduct of being in the Central Division.
And it's unfortunate because, he was let go from the Cubs because Madden became available.
Yeah.
And then he went to the White Sox, and look what he did, and now they let him go. Like, what can this guy do? Like,
well, somebody's going to pick him up. So I think he's absolutely worth it. I don't know what he's doing fired right now. I don't know who they're. I mean,
yeah, we'll see. Like, it wouldn't be surprised if if for some reason Mets do not think Reyes is the answer. That could be because you think about there's really no positions that are open.
Right.
We'll have to see what Steve Cohen does if they once they trickle down, figure what they're going to do there.
Maybe
That's
I don't know.
really the only position that could open.
So maybe not even. So if there is no manager positions
It's got to
available
be next year. I think it's more.
he's got to get somewhere though now. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe not manager. Maybe as a different
I forgot Houston.
Houston. Oh,
If Dusty stays or goes, I forgot about that position.
I think Dusty's going to stick around for one more season.
We'll see because I think it was just a 1 year deal, so they had to agree to a new deal.
Well, what I like about Rick Renteria, I mean, I don't know what he does with all the other players, but he brought this young squad together and did damage. So I would love to see him with another young squad
Yes.
to do the same, whether it's Pittsburgh or somebody like that who needs, I don't know, or Baltimore. I don't know who they got there because I know they somebody who's fairly new.
Yeah.
But either way, great job all around. Let's move on to the National League.
So nationally, we have Don Mattingly from Miami. That's no shock there.
Definitely not a shocker there.
David Ross from the Cubs, and then Jace
Tingler for the
Padres.
Padres. Yeah. All these guys, I feel like are in the same boat. They're all pretty tight with like who could win this one. Who knows? It's up in the air.
Yeah.
But we absolutely did not expect Miami to do work this year. That's the one that sticks out to me the most.
Yeah. Of course, one season after losing 105 games, the worst record in baseball last year, they went 31-29, the first winning record since 2009, made their first postseason appearance since, of course, the 2003 World Series win. All that and with the big major outbreak the first week, where they forced Miami to use 61 players, most in any season franchise history in 60 games.
Yeah, man. What they did was nothing short of a miracle. And then I think what put Don Mattingly up there even more so is what they did when they made it to the postseason.
Well, at least they made it.
Right.
This vote happens right after the season ends, so playoffs did no factor. But still, the motion when after they announced the finalists, they interviewed Don Mattingly on MLB TV, and you see the motion that he went through with dealing with all the players sick, calling people up. Like, remember, their star pitcher was in Double-A last year.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of magic him and the Miami worked with. So if anyone deserves it, it's got to be Mattingly. Then David Ross, first-time manager, the Cubs, win the division.
I really like him a lot.
I thought that he was going to be a finalist.
Yeah.
What he did first year, you win the division.
And then they even took a series in the playoffs, didn't they?
Yeah, they lost to Miami.
Oh, that's right. But that's what I take back. When I was saying the reason Don Mattingly is also up here is because when they got to the postseason, they struck hard. We thought it would can they lose a game in the postseason? Obviously, we found out real quick the Braves
next series.
But yeah, no. David Ross went from catcher to manager, still running the show. I think he did a great job.
It's the first division since 17.
Yeah.
He was a part of the hero of the 16 World Series, and it was a disappointment last year. So that's why Mattingly walked away. Ross brought in and sparked something because possibly next year could be it for majority of these guys in the Cubs uniform.
Well, what I thought was even more impressive, like I said earlier in the season, is that he had to deal with it. He had to manage people that he was playing with. That's hard.
Buds with.
That's what I'm saying. That's got to be hard. Like your best friends, you're like, bro, you suck. You're gonna sit the bench. That's tough.
Yeah,
that's tough. Anyways, I think the Chicago is in good hands right now, for sure. Same thing with Miami. And then we got Jace Tingler from the Slam Diego Padres. And that's the reason he's up there because these guys went nuts. They had fun this year.
Well, first year manager, he guided the Padres to the first postseason appearance since 2006. Finished 37-28, marking the best single season win percentage in franchise history.
Yeah, man. Nothing short of awesome there.
Yeah. And we all knew they had to do something with what was it? The GM, he had to make some moves because his, all those big money deals that they did with Machado and so this is getting close and they put it together. So far looks like he's staying. So next year should be interesting.
Are you saying that he had a hand in the Machado deal?
Not the manager.
Oh,
no.
okay. I was gonna say whoever had the hand in the Machado deal must be looking like a stud because Machado was kind of falling off there for a while. I thought
Last year was a quiet year.
That's what I'm saying. For the Orioles, he's been slowly declining. I'm like, well, is Machado still good, or is he kind of like Manny would out there, like getting to the end of it? But this year, man, he went nuts, which is why we need to talk about the AL and NL MVP.
And I think reason why he went nuts because Tatis had a full season.
Is that why?
Well, remember Tatis missed half this year last year, and he still finished in the top 3 Rookie of the Year vote last year.
That's right.
But so we were wondering when that chemistry gets together for a full season, and they got it together, and they
Well, yeah, I'm just surprised. Like Manny was looking great this year.
yeah. So then we got the MVP. We'll start with the National League first.
Okay.
So we have Mookie Betts, new Dodgers, now 2-time World Series champion.
Made that deal look great.
Right. Then we have Freddie Freeman of the Atlanta Braves, and then Manny Machado of the Padres.
Man, what a cast of guys right there.
Yeah.
This is a good finalist right here.
Yeah,
I like it.
You kind of thought you looked at it like who could be the 3 finalists. Everyone's like, okay, Freddie Freeman was the clear cut for majority of the season after about halfway through.
What?
Machado was brought up, and then Betts was getting brought up, and then who else was getting brought up? A couple other people.
Freeman also helped carry his team into playoffs
Yes.
too. Like he was coming up big.
So it doesn't surprise it. Then so we'll start with Betts. You know, this is not something new for him.
No.
2 years ago, he won the AL MVP.
That's right.
With a impressive debut with the Dodgers, he slashed 292, 16 home runs, 10 stolen bases. Among with the winning awards of 18, he had received MVP votes in every season since 15 and finished as a runner-up in 16.
Yeah, could this be the year for him? I mean, he's making an argument.
Yeah, could he be another guy that wins MVP in both leagues?
Yeah, I don't see why not. And if he, for some reason, doesn't win it this year,
he's going to have time with that 10-year
that's what
deal.
I'm saying. And he's on a great team.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard not to put up numbers when everybody around you is doing so as well.
Yeah, that's why my preseason pick, I just put a Dodger because I feel like whoever was the best Dodger was
Exactly.
most likely going to get the MVP vote because of how stacked they were.
And you could throw out any Dodgers name and anybody could be like, yeah. Like if I said Bellinger, Seager, anything like that, like, oh, yeah, easily.
Yeah.
But then we go into Freeman. So, he's never finished higher than 4th in MVP voting. But obviously that's going to change because this year he carried the Braves on his back.
Yes.
He's the Braves first baseman who hit 341, 13 home runs. He had 23 doubles that led MLB, and he also had 53 RBIs as well. 53 RBIs, man. Come on, that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
And he posted a remarkable 1.102 OPS.
Yes.
Dude did nuts.
Yeah, he did. And especially when going into the opening series against the Mets, we thought he wasn't going to play because of COVID.
Exactly.
And he's like, he's starting opening day. I'm like, okay. And then he just never let up. Like the scariness of, that disease. And then even though like during the season, he even flew home to watch his son's baseball practice and then flew back to the game. It's stuff like that's who Freddie Freeman is.
Look, man. Yeah. And as impressive as Betts was, when you look at Freeman's stats, like you said, a lot of guys didn't get to watch the games. When you look at his stats, how can you deny that? Batted .341 for the season.
Yes.
53 RBIs. He hit 23 doubles.
And Freeman's always been that guy. And just this year he put it together. Unfortunately, it's a 60-game season. But
I'm just saying that's
why.
Yeah, that's impressive. He was out there raking, man. He's one of those big guys. This could be his year.
Yeah.
It really could. I know that Betts took the team and they went to win the World Series, but that's a big team of super talent.
Yes.
Freeman, he went ham.
Yeah.
And he's a big reason why the Braves were even in the conversation.
And then Machado.
The
key clog in the Padres offense. He had a solid all-around season, clubbing 16 home runs. He stole 6 bases in the shortened 60-game season. That would put him on a 43 home run and 16 stolen bases pace if it was a full season.
Yeah, man.
He slashed 304 while forming the most unforgettable duo alongside with that Tatis Jr.
Yeah, Machado absolutely made watching the Padres fun because you got all the young guys, you got Machado, you got everybody doing work.
Yes.
Everybody. Nothing but greatness. I mean, look, this is a good, solid group of guys to be the finalists. I don't know how they're going to vote. Who do you got your pick for?
Man, I wouldn't say Freeman first. I might go Machado Betts.
I think the same thing, man. I'm going Freeman first. I got to give it to Machado. I cannot deny what he did this season.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And then Betts. Betts was on a great team. I would like to see him do that in the Braves uniform or even the Padres. But yeah, man, I think Freeman, for me personally, Freeman took this one.
Yeah, I think so too. And like I said, just like the NL Cy Young, how it's going to come down to the votes, I feel like this one's going to come down to the votes.
Yeah.
Who got first place votes, because those count so many more than third place, second place. It's going to be tight.
Yeah,
With
man.
not being able to see these guys in person, and especially for East Coast, the writers that don't want to stay up till midnight watching the games, you're going to look at stat line. So if you look at stat line, I think Freeman would get your vote.
Yeah, and I can attest watching some Braves games, or at least highlights, seeing Freeman being the guy that come through and making big plays. Betts put up good numbers, but how many of those counted how much of those were really crucial until the playoffs? Playoffs, yes, he showed up.
And then if you think about just like who was talked about more, you
Right.
got to think Machado and Tatis.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So it's going to be real close.
Yeah,
it's gonna
man.
be tight. I can't wait to see who gets this one.
Either way they go.
The next one, the AL, one name surprised me when it was a finalist.
Yeah,
One we knew it was clear front winner, which is Jose Abreu.
absolutely.
DJ Mayu I kind of felt like he could have been in there maybe.
Did they not take his option? Hold on.
No, he's a free agent. And then Jose Ramirez of the Indians was the shocker for me, because I thought Nelson Cruz was possibly that third guy, what he did, but
Well, I think the shocker to everyone is that Trout's name isn't up here.
that's another one.
But you know what?
Because it's only his second time in history since he's been.
And it's tough because it's a short season. Obviously, we had more to go on. There could be better. And if his team was better, his team.
I think that's got to be.
That's
it.
what sucks, man. Is his team is not letting him be great.
No.
I really hope they figure this out, because I really want to see him in the playoffs.
Because they still do not have a GM, and winter and free agency has began.
Man, that team is like bad news bears. I don't even know what to say. Like Trout is just the best talent that you're not putting enough effort into. Let him become a Yankee as far as I care. I don't care, man. Let the man get some.
So let's start with Abreu.
All right, let's start with
The
the Braves.
2014 Rookie of the Year winner, looking to add MVP to his trophy case, was leading AL in both hits with 76, slugging percentage at 617. He also led the majors in RBIs with 60, total bases of 148, and while hitting 19 home runs, we're only second to Luke Vogt with 22.
You cannot dismiss this season at all. My man had 19 home runs, 60 RBIs. Dude.
That's that White Sox. Like we said with Luis Roberts, how they're always on base. He was another reason to benefit from him.
I just want you to think about it this way. If we had a whole season, 162 games, and somebody said, yeah, this guy finished with 19 home runs, 60 RBIs, and was slugging 617, that's a full year worth of stats right there. He did great. I mean, those stats. Look, Jose Abreu, I don't know how he loses this, honestly.
Right?
I just don't. This is a great year for him.
Yeah, because he pretty much averaged an RBI a game.
Exactly. Exactly. Dude, those stats are just nuts.
Yeah.
You had 60 RBIs in a 60-game season. How do you not win MVP? That's pretty tough. That absolutely keeps your team in it.
And if he kept that pace up for a whole season, he would hit 52 home runs.
Yeah, and then 162 RBIs and who knows what else. I mean, what was his batting average this year?
It was high. I think it was just.
It's got to be.
It was just under 2, just under 3, or just over 3, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Why I didn't put that in there? I'll pull it up real quick. But yeah, as his numbers kept climbing, especially that weekend with all those home runs, you couldn't doubt what this guy did. So let's see.
Looks like he batted 317.
Okay.
Come on, man. 317, 60 RBIs, 19 home runs. That's it. I don't even need to see anybody else, to be honest. That if he doesn't win this AL MVP, I will be really shocked.
Yeah, definitely.
That's think about it, man. That's just too good. He's probably
he finished 4th in the AL. Only person that had a better average was DJ Mayu, Tim Anderson, his teammate, and then Fletcher from the Angels.
Look, LeMahieu may have had a better average, but nobody's putting up 60 RBIs.
No.
Freaking 148 total bases. That's how you win games.
Yeah. So
let's talk about LeMahieu. Yeah.
He finished 4th in the AL MVP vote in the first season with the Yankees back in last year. He upped his hitting across the line 20. He led the majors with, of course, this 364. All base percentage is a 421. OBS is a 1.011.
That's fine, but you're on the Yankees. You're not impressing me when you put up those numbers.
And then remember, he missed quite a few games.
Yeah, exactly. So that also helped
his average stay up there. And that's
yes.
why Tim Anderson didn't get the back-to-back batting titles. I feel like.
And I feel like Tim Anderson absolutely deserves it.
He was getting close.
He's
God,
a hit monster.
Close. Yes.
He's a hit monster, man.
He wanted that so bad.
All right, well then let's talk about Ramirez. Ramirez is no
slouch.
He's not new to this game. He's finished back-to-back third place finishes in voting.
17 and 18.
Yeah, exactly. He took a step back with 19, but the Indians infielder responded in a big way this year. He posted a career best .993 OPS while racking up 17 home runs, 10 stolen bases, which would put him on pace for 45 homers and 27 stolen bases in a full season.
Yeah,
great, good for you. Don't care because you know what, Abreu is got to be the guy to win this one.
Yeah, like
I can't imagine anybody
good chunk
else.
of the year. Like we said, Nelson Cruz was online, but they were like, "Will DH get respect?" And looks like it didn't because Jose Ramirez is the finalist. So I kind of want to see where Cruz's end is up when the final vote comes out.
Right.
But
me too.
Honestly, how it is in the line, that's probably how I would vote. Jose, LeMahieu, then Ramirez.
Agreed. With a big gap from Abreu to LeMahieu.
Yeah.
I feel like Abreu should get almost all, if not all, the first place votes for sure.
I almost say unless you're a Yankees writer, then he'll probably vote. But yeah, Jose, you can't deny the fact of that.
You absolutely can't. Just like picture what he did. And that's comparable to a 162 season stat line, man. It's just nuts. Anyways.
Yeah, it was insane, put in respect, like we said about Trout. I'm pulling his stats for this year.
Trout's just not on a great team. It's just
so
tough.
He batted .281, 17 home runs, 46 RBIs, and 1 stolen base. So you compare it to...
That's very close to Ramirez.
So I feel like Trout will probably finish in the top 5.
Oh, yeah. That's fine. You know what? Look, he had a good year no matter how you look at it. He's still the guy. Just this short season really brought out some other talents. They stepped up, man.
It's only the second time he's not a finalist.
Right.
And that because he was injured the other year.
Exactly.
And it's just unfortunately Jose went off and Mayhew put some insane try to get to that 400 our average line, and then
that's what
Jose
I'm saying.
Just kind of had a great season.
Look, the White Sox in general had a great season, which is like something you don't plan for.
No.
If I guarantee you, if the surrounding cast to Trout was doing what the White Sox are doing, his stats would look padded too.
Oh yeah, if he had more people on base, he definitely would have more RBIs and
sad.
They're afraid to pitch to him. That's why he probably has so many walks. I didn't look up his walks because you don't like I said. What was it? I think in the 9th inning they walked him to get to someone else because they don't want Trout to beat them.
Well, why wouldn't you? Think about it. When Barry Bonds used to play, he got walked more than anybody.
And they would walk runs in. They rather give up 1 than give up 4.
Exactly. So yeah, once you're that guy, well, you know you can rake.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get to something else.
So that's pretty much it. So we can't wait to see because every day next week, starting Monday through Thursday, one category each night, both A and M will be announced starting Monday. I think they all are usually about 6 o'clock in the evening. So next weekend we will break that down, who won and how the votes came out. So we'll be right back. All right. So next we get to talk about, we figured this week would be the top free agents, where we think they might land, our guesses this year.
Yeah.
With free agency officially starting Sunday, a couple people were offered, the qualifying offer. So that'll be a big thing why some people might take it. Some people might stay away from them because, draft picks are everything nowadays.
Well, the first guy we absolutely need to talk about is Trevor Bauer.
The hot commodity.
Absolutely. Most likely going to be the Cy Young Award winner, and he's also a free agent. He's 30 years old, right-handed pitcher from the Reds.
Yep.
So what do we like about this guy?
Like I said, the stellar inning this year with the 1.7. His spin rate is one of the best in baseball. His desire to pitch for contender is, and his strong ability for technology is interesting. So his aim is to pitch every 4 days.
Okay. Wow.
He suggested he can consider himself being the first pitcher to make 40 starts in the season since Charlie Hoth in 1987. I imagine the idea well-preserved that 1-year deal, it seemed harder for multi-year deals or taking the downside risk with his opt-out clause. But we've never seen a free agent quite like Trevor Bauer in 15 years. While Reds have issued a qualifying offer, they seem unlikely to finish in the winning bidder. You will see the Dodgers, Yankees, Phillies, Mets, Blue Jays, Braves, White Sox, Giants, Angels, Twins, Padres, and Nationals all trying to probably bid for this guy.
Yeah, man. Everybody wants a piece of the Bauer. as a Mets fan, obviously I want him to be a Met next year.
Yeah.
And I think with this new direction, we got Cohen who's taken over, and that's final, and that's got our spirits up pretty high. And we need pitching. We always need pitching. It's okay if we offered Stroman a deal or whatever, but I really would like us to land Bauer.
Yeah.
Because that would make us a real contender.
So that's what a lot of people are afraid of because, all these teams, like it came out earlier, I think a couple of days ago, that baseball said they lost about $3 billion in a shortened season.
Wow.
So a lot of teams, we feel like these top tier, about 4 or 5 guys are still going to get the money. Mm-hmm. That's why Betts got the money, even though right before the season started, it was like he still got the deal done, that 10-year deal, which we thought like, oh, that might not happen this year now with this coronavirus. He still got it. I still think the top 4 or 5 guys will get paid. Unfortunately, I don't think Mets get him.
Yeah.
The thing I think who I picked is he's from California. I think he goes home. I think Angels gets their ace.
Okay, well, if the Mets had to lose out, I think the Angels would be a great spot
And
to
I
land.
roughly predict about a 6-year, $170 million deal.
Oof. Okay.
Because I don't think he wants to commit. Like, think about it. He'll get to play with probably the best player in the world. He's not competing all his career, so that if he does need to go chase. But my biggest thing is I don't know if the Angels can do it now. They still have a GM. Who's pitching coming for my team? The owner? The president? Like, it's a little iffy. Like, if you still don't have a GM when free agency starts.
So you're thinking 6-year for what?
170.
That's pretty high, man. I'm thinking he's more in the $24 million a year range for 5.
I think if the Angels lost on Garrett Cole, they need that ace. They're willing to overpay.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But you know what? You never know, man, because I feel like if he does land on a team, if it's not the Angels, because look, the Angels, if you look at all their cast on paper, they look great, but they need this pitcher. It's the same thing with the Mets. If you look at the players on the team, there's a contender there. Mm-hmm. They just need that missing piece, which is why Bauer could.
And like I said, Bauer could be that weird guy who wants to just sign a 2-year deal.
It could be. I wouldn't do that at 30, but he could.
Yeah, he could be like, look, I see what the Mets can do. I'll give you a 2-year deal. Let's try it out.
All right, yeah, I agree.
You don't know. Or he can just, like, Yankees, I don't know. We can say absolutely there's 29 teams that's going to try to sign Bauer.
Right.
There's one that he's absolutely not going to go to. That's the Houston Astros.
Right.
How much hate he has.
But he absolutely would love to go to a contender, I'm sure. I'm sure he's not going to pick up his bags and go play for the Pirates. No. He's going to want
and the thing I think it hurts for the Mets is the technology part.
Well,
Cohen's talking about bringing it up to way to par and stuff. So that's going to be the factor.
Well, we'll see, man. As much as I'd love to see him in a Mets uniform, I wouldn't mind seeing him in an Angels uniform because I want to see Trout in the postseason.
Oh, yeah.
So the next guy we're going to talk about, JT Realmuto.
Oh, man.
I know you're really high on this guy.
I am.
You really want him to be a Met.
I do because, this is arguably one of the best catchers in baseball since 2018. He hasn't let the title up since, 30 years old this March, including he has a 114. Why am I drawing a blank right now? But he gives the typical catcher checks in at 90. His mark is about 125. He's a major asset at bat.
Are you talking about WAR? Or
are
you talking about his throw to second? I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm trying to think. What am I? Maybe it was his framing rate. I missed something there. I don't know. Oh man, but he ranks first in MLB since 2018 with his caught stealing rate. Mm-hmm. You can't argue with that. So, he's 95th percentile in framing as well. So, the fastest running catcher in baseball. So, catcher's a big deal.
It is. He's also 30 years old.
So this is his one check.
Exactly.
We can all agree upon.
Right.
So Philly did issue a qualifying offer. Not shocker there. They tried to get an extension done. It just didn't work out. Apparently, they're part of the money. Should their efforts to sign him fall short, Mets, Yankees, Nationals, Astros, Angels, Blue Jays, Reds, and even Cardinals possibility are suitors.
Okay. You know what's crazy about these top agents is that almost all of them hover around the 30-year-old mark. Except for one guy from the KBO.
Yeah, well, you think the more and more they come in from
older
from college,
or
if they come from high school, they come through the system. You think in the 6-year mark, if you're coming on about 22, 23, you're getting close to that 30-year mark.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, man, everybody needs a catcher.
Yeah.
I mean, you could always use a catcher, and the guys like Yadier, Molina, and stuff, they're 38 years old. They're getting older. So this is the guy. If you need a catcher, you need to go get him.
Yeah.
And we all know the Mets need a catcher. I don't want to just make this a Mets show, but we absolutely do need a catcher.
Yeah.
There's no way around it.
But the thing, the rumor is, I don't know if it's just Buff or people around Muto, he does not like New York.
Okay.
So that's when my thing, I'm like,
well, you know what? He's from the Phillies, and we don't like the Phillies either, so I'm sure he doesn't like New York.
It's apparently he doesn't like but I kind of think
money talks, man.
Phillies get it done.
You think they do?
I think they give in and add the money that he's willing.
I think they need to because of Bryce Harper.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have him sitting on your team, just like you don't have Trout sitting on your team. If you have somebody that caliber, styled, good, you got to keep them together.
Just imagine if Angels didn't re-sign Trout, that this was going to be the year that Trout was a free agent.
Yeah. Huh. I don't want to remind. Man. I don't because I would.
Because remember, everyone thought like it would possibly been Trout and Harper in Philly because he'd want to come home.
That would have been nuts.
But I think
I'm thinking
that not happening. I think they had the money. They're going to pay Realmuto.
Yeah.
I have it down. He goes back to Philly for 5 years, 125.
All right, we'll see. I mean, that's not a bad deal.
And I kind of want to know who the other two teams that have called about Yadi Molina, because apparently Cardinals have talked to him, and two other teams have contacted him. I'm like, who's talking to an agent catcher? Like, someone has a minor leaguer that's right there?
Probably. That would make sense.
So number 3, this guy, the arguably one of the best outfielders right now is George Springer.
Yeah, 31 years old, so we got another guy in the 30s. Springer's, his age and injury history could limit his earning power. So, like I said, we'll see what happens because he was on the 2017 Astros, and we all know what happened there. So, does that hurt him? I don't know. But we can agree that if you take that away, he's still a great player.
Yeah.
He was in a shortened season this year.
Yeah, but he consistently mashed since Astros called him up in 2014.
But people who are looking to add a caliber player of this quality will absolutely be looking at George Springer if they missed out on the Betts deal. Because he's comparable to that. So we'll see. I mean, what do you think? Who do you think wants him? Do you think the Astros can get him back?
No, the rumor is that he wants out.
I would think so.
So, the experienced hitter without cheating of his performance the last 2 seasons, much like players who've gotten large contracts and steroid suspensions, Springer will find plenty of interest this offseason. He has apologized, he's embraced the fans, moved on to his new team, and continued production. He'll hear boos, of course, when the road hits when he returns to baseball, but I don't think the PR and sign stealing scandal have a major effect on the free agent market. Astros did make a qualifying offer, but look to White Sox, Blue Jays, Mets, Phillies, Cardinals, and Nationals as a potential fit.
Yeah, that would be a great fit, but for some reason, he reminds me of a future Yankee. Maybe not this signing season, but these kind of guys are the guys that end up on the Yankees for some reason. So no, any one of those guys would be good to have him.
Yeah.
I don't know where I would like to see him end up though.
You know who I got him?
Where you got him?
I got him a 5-year deal, $120 million to the New York Mets.
You think so?
We need a center fielder. And I think I'm okay losing GT Realmuto, if we can sign George Springer to solidify us back to a defensive and also offensive center fielder, we can go get a second tier as like James McCann as catcher to replace get JT. I think that'd be smart money,
I agree because, like you said, if we have a solid center fielder, that pretty much solidifies our outfield with sluggers.
Yes,
and then our infielders can do the job too. So we need a good, solid hitting squad. But I still think our priority needs to be another pitcher.
Yes, I do agree with that too. But
it would be nice to have him. Yes,
yeah.
agreed.
And then the other thing is he's from Connecticut. He wants to be close to the family. New York's not that far from Connecticut. That could be a good selling point to him.
Okay. All right.
So next is this guy that took a 1-year deal this last year to try to get a multi-year deal, and that is Marcell Ozuna.
Yeah, man. Ozuna, well, he reportedly turned down a 3-year deal from the Reds to bet on himself with a 1-year, $18 million contract, which was pre-prorated in Atlanta. And, he had better luck to turn into a monster season. He batted .338. He's not a great defender. No. I don't know if that's going to limit him. They say it might limit him in American leagues if there's a universal DH no longer in play. But he's definitely the biggest pure bat in the market. And we can agree on that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, Ozuna, he rakes. And it's sad to think about these guys that were on the Marlins at one time together. Like,
That
what was it?
outfield.
Ozuna.
It was Ozuna, Yelich, and Stanton in the
I know.
outfield.
Like, and they did nothing.
And they couldn't do nothing.
Nothing. I can't believe it because all three of these guys are studs right now. It's nuts.
And I think that's why Jeter traded him, because he knew that this was going to be something he would build on. These three guys I can get trade assets for.
Yeah.
He did it. It was a shocker because, and then especially when Yelich went and won MVP. Stanton has been injured, but Ozuna.
But when he's healthy, man, does he rake. And Ozuna's just as good. Like, all three of these guys are pretty good. So who needs him?
So, like you said, it's going to be tough. If there's no universal DH, that is going to limit his position.
Yeah.
Because he, majority of the year, was DH for the Atlanta Braves. So, if
that's
they will
because-
attempt to rein him, because after they lost Josh Donaldson,
Yep.
he was kind of like, he'll fit the position for now, that left-handed bat. And it worked out yet again.
Mm-hmm.
Do they lose 2 years in a row, a guy they signed for a 1-year deal to multi-year deals? But, Nationals is one name that people are coming up with as a possibility where he can be. Remember, Adam Eaton was not qualified back, so he can fill in that right field position. Because they have Soto in left, and then they have Victor Robles in center.
Okay.
That could be a positional spot. But that DH spot is where it comes up to me, where I can possibly see him doing a 3-year deal, $60 million to the Red Sox.
Yeah. No, why not?
Because him and JD Martinez can one play outfield one day, one DH, and they'll swap the other games. I can see that happening.
Okay. No, that's a great idea. I feel like if he does sign in with the National League team, then he's definitely going to have to find a spot in right field somewhere. But he's got to work on his defense.
Yes.
At 30, I don't think that's going to happen. So like you said, he's a pure hitter. We'll see what happens. I would like to see him on a team like the Blue Jays, a team that's up and coming that needs a DH or something. I would like to see that happen. But if he goes on the Red Sox, they could absolutely use it.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
They need that bat since trade away Betts, and he could be that guy that actually plug right in and go.
Yeah, man. I feel like after every season, any team in the AL East has to make these big moves just to stay relevant.
Yeah.
So I would like to, I could see him in a Red Sox uniform, just like you said.
Yeah.
Because they need something.
And it'll be Charlie Bloom's first big free agency. After being signing, they were quiet last year. I think really the only thing he didn't even re-sign Chris Sale, so it was a real quiet offseason for him. So this will be his full big offseason. This could be his first big move.
All
But
right.
as a Rays guy, they don't make big moves. He goes for draft assets and stuff. But we'll see. He now has money, so it's not like he was restricted.
All right, man. So the next guy we want to talk about is one of the MVP candidates for the AL, DJ LeMahieu.
Yeah, when after coming to 2018, his cap with the Rockies career, he signed a 2-year deal for only $24 million with the Yankees. Well, that worked out for the Yankees, a major factor. After while playing New York, strong second baseman and holds his infield corners, it's easy to argue that Mayhew became the best free agency at first base, second base, third base this winter. He got 3 Gold Gloves in his resume, finished 4th MVP voting last year. He hit a career high 26 home runs. What else can you argue? So this normal offseason, he probably would go what Josh Donaldson got last year, the 4-year, $92 million. COVID year, it's probably going to shrink.
I don't know, man. I feel like they got him for a steal on that 2-year deal for $24 million. This year, nobody's going to be sleeping on LeMahieu.
No, he's going to get a pay increase.
He's definitely going to get a pay increase.
But 32 is the factor.
But he can get a solid 4 or 5 year deal, and I feel like he's going to get paid more than, what is that, $12 million a year? He's going to be getting in the 18 to 20 probably.
I got it down that he goes back to the Yankees.
Okay.
A 3-year deal, $66 million.
So you got him for about $20 million, $21 million a
$22
year.
million a year.
Yeah, that's exactly where I would put him, and that's a good deal for both of them. Well, it's a better deal for the Yankees. It's more realistic because that puts him at 35.
Yep.
And does he have anything left in the tank?
Exactly.
I think he could sign that deal. That'd be great for him. But I think he'd feel more comfortable with the 4 or 5 year deal, maybe a 3-year with some options.
Yeah, it could be clear, but like you said, I feel like starting with LeMahieu, if it's not for the Yankees, he's gonna be that second tier where we'll see what other teams are willing to spend.
I feel like the Yankees,
because he's older.
Right.
I feel like that's the thing.
Well, the Yankees, they like great players, and obviously this guy's a candidate for the MVP, and he's also proved that he can be healthy and consistent, and that's what they need. So the Yankees' best interest is to re-sign LeMahieu, like you said, for a 3-year deal, $66 million, possibly some options. That's what needs to happen.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
If that doesn't happen, they took a loss. They lost out on that
other
deal.
people that could possibly reach out to him is Blue Jays, Nationals, Angels, and even Dodgers. They
definitely don't want the Blue Jays talking to him.
Yeah.
No, they don't want. If he's gone, they need him out of the division.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting. We'll see what happens. Nationals is another one. They do need someone at second base, so that is a possibility. Angels, they need almost everyone to retool that infield. Besides, they just got Rendon last year, so they need someone at second base. And the Dodgers, do they really need them? No, but they could,
depending on what happens
with Justin Turner.
Yeah, agreed.
So the next guy is Marcus Stroman. He had a case of the best free agent starter available after Trevor Bauer. This is the second guy.
And the reason he's ranked higher is because he's only 29.
He's 29. He began the season in July on the IL because of his calf injury. Then right before he got healthy, of course, he decided to opt out for a family decision. His body work shows he'll put in a position in a weak market for free agents started pitching. 19, Stroman posts a 3.22 ERA with a 62% ground ball rate across 32 starts from the Blue Jays and Mets. Strong all-star bounce back from the 18 season, married by a shoulder injury. While missing the season doesn't help his case, he could be matched around Nate Lavardi's 4-year, $68 million pack, but Mets did issue a qualifying offer, so that determines his market to some degree. But of course, whoever doesn't get Bauer, so you think Angels, Braves, Nationals, Giants, Phillies, White Sox are possibilities, Yankees, and of course Mets are still in it as well.
Well, like you said, I mean, he's not a high strikeout arm. He's a guy who's going to he's going to be pitching to the ground balls.
Yeah.
So you absolutely need a good defensive team behind him.
Yes.
The Mets could be that team. Yes, I agree. At least they threw out the offer just in case he wants to sign. But their priority is probably on Bauer, if I had to guess. But Stroman's great. Like I said, he's not a flashy player. He's not going to strike everybody out zooming by him. But he's a great pitcher to add to anybody's team.
The biggest thing with him is his desire, because he always talked about maybe want to go pitch home. Well, Mets traded for him. He pitched home.
Yeah.
Does he want to stay home? So then there's Yankees and Mets. He keeps trashing the Yankees on
I
social media.
I know.
This could be where if he goes out, fills the market, it doesn't feel like he's going to quite get the money he wants. He could take that 1-year qualifying offer, prove himself. Or he can just go ahead and resign the Mets, which I think he could do. But probably not as money he thought. I have it down roughly about a 4-year, $80 million, where they could do extra incentives to bonus up if he doesn't improve.
I agree because, like I said, you're in a league where they're looking for the fastball and the strikeout count. You're a guy who's going to be pitching to the glove, getting them ground balls.
Yeah.
So that doesn't always go well.
No.
So I agree, especially since you decided not to play this season. You're going to have to take a little bit of a pay cut in my eyes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I completely agree with everything you said. He should probably sign back with the Mets at this offer and prove himself.
Yeah, if he gets a qualifying offer, you're still $18.9 million.
Which is where we put you anyways.
Yeah, and like I said, I roughly put him about a $20 million pitcher. So it depends on what the offers are out there. It's going to be interesting. He could be that one of the rare guys that takes a qualifying offer besides one other player, I think, this offseason.
And maybe, because now that we had this short season and we saw what these young pitchers can do in the league, they might not even be looking at you anymore. You might be getting like the Puig treatment and nobody's calling you. It could be a situation where, like, let me take a look at the guys we have in our bullpen or in our rookie leagues and see if anybody's worthy of trying to get a shot.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll keep an eye on this one. The next one
is
a guy that's not played in Major League Baseball yet.
We got a guy named Ha-Seong Kim. He's from the KBO. But the even better news is he's only 25.
Yes.
So yeah, man. So this whole season, even before the MLB came back, we got to watch a lot of KBO baseball, and apparently the MLB has taken notice because this guy is one of the best free agents that they're thinking about. He's a KBO's one of their bright young stars.
Yeah. Like some people believe he's that unicorn, as they called it, because he has that blend of age, power, speed, and defensive opportunity for being a shortstop.
So and like you said, shortstop.
Yeah.
And we're not known. Shortstops aren't known for raking.
No.
Except for like the little guy from the Red Sox. I'm having a brain fart right now. Dustin Pedroia. I'm going back. Yeah, Dustin Pedroia. So this guy, he slashed a 308, 399, 526 with 30 home runs, 24 doubles in 137 games.
Yeah.
That's and any MLB can sign him now.
Yeah.
So it's not like you have to pay just to talk to the guy. So his power, contact, athleticism will translate. It remains to be seen. Like I said, the hardest thing for him is he plays for the KBO.
I think the biggest thing, it's not like where you remember you hear some outrageous when Darvish, you had to pay some like outrageous amounts
Just to talk.
to get that deal done. He's only going to cost, I feel like, $7 to $8 million.
Right, which would be a huge increase from the KBO.
Yeah.
And as a 25-year-old guy, who probably not even thinking about the majors.
And you think, yes, he's a young guy, so sometimes your rookies are about that. But he's been a pro since 18 over there in the KBO.
Yeah.
So he has some years. You're talking about like an Ichiro situation where he's been a year young and then comes over and still has a long career possibly.
I agree. My only question mark is that he plays for the KBO. It's not like he's playing for Japan. He's playing for the KBO.
Yeah.
And I watched these KBO games. I was up early in the morning watching some of these, and I tell you what, the talent is not the greatest. That's all I'm saying. So him killing it against these mediocre pitchers is fine, but will that translate into the MLB? I would like to see it.
Yeah, I would too.
I don't know, but I'd like to see the kid get a chance.
Yeah. And roughly, and I'm thinking about who could sign him. Of course, you think West Coast teams and stuff like that, but with the track history of going after posted players, I have Rangers about 5 years, $40 million. We'll probably do it,
Absolutely, and that would be a steal for both teams.
especially with them almost committing to a rebuild now. How bad they were last year.
Yeah.
I think that's a good starting point for someone in your infield, especially if he works out great for you.
So we're both in agreement that a team will get a great player potentially, because we still don't know if this stat line will translate in MLB. But I think it will, because I saw the pitching and stuff in the KBO, and it's not great. And he goes to MLB. Well, their pitching is pretty spot on great. You're getting him in a tight spot, so that should help him in the long run. But when I think of this guy, man, it's just like, yes, a team is going to sign a good kid. Probably get a deal out of it. Like you said, 5 years, 4 years, $20 million.
5-year deal
Cheap.
will put him at 30.
Exactly.
For his next, could be his big deal if he works out.
But that's a gamble worth taking, because you're getting him at a cheap rate compared to some of these guys. Like, think about, we talked about Luis Roberts signed a $50 million deal before he even made it to the show.
For a 6-year deal.
Right.
Being young. So we'll keep an eye on it. I can't wait to see who knows who will sign him. Another team you can think of is Angels.
Yeah,
they need
why
someone
not?
in the infield. Like, this could be that chance they could take.
And this is to save them some money so they can take the gamble.
Yeah.
I agree. Angels would be a great fit.
So we'll see who posted or if he does anything. We can't wait to see with that one. All right, so next on the list is Didi Gregorius, which is another guy who took a chance on a 1-year deal.
Who's also 31.
So, he didn't like the deal, I think, when he left Yankees last year. He signed the 1-year deal with the Phillies. Of course, he turned 31 in February, bet on himself with that $14 million deal. He was able to deliver a full, healthy season. It basically looked like a vintage Yankees DG before the October 2018 Tommy John injury. So, of the big 3 veteran shortstops that's on the market this winter, he has to be the best. He had the best season.
Yeah, like you said, he came back from Tommy John, had a good year, and he actually showed that he still got it. He bat .488 slugging percentage, and he had 11.8% strikeout rate, which was among the best in the MLB. So yeah, people should be on the lookout. I don't know what kind of deal he can receive. Maybe somewhere in the range of $16 million a year or so.
So I think what helped his case is Phillies did not offer the qualifying offer. So that's going to help him out. Phillies could look to retain him. That's a really strong possibility. But Reds and Angels is another possibility where I can see it happening.
So you just got everybody, the Angels.
Angels need everything besides a center fielder and a third baseman, I feel like.
Yeah, exactly. You're right there. Maybe not a DH between Pujols and Shotani.
Yeah, because Pujols gets 1 more year, and then and Shotani. We'll see what happens with that next year. But I really do like the idea of a 3-year, $45 million deal going to the Angels. Is what I got down.
Yeah. So you're saying that the Angels need to start picking up all these little mid offers.
I think offers were like, look, let's put this together. We have Madden, that's a great manager.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing, they need a pitcher. So if they don't get Bauer, they need to try to convince Stroman to come out.
Right.
Rest.
And like you said, I agree with you there. They need a pitcher. Didi would be a good addition, and so would the kid from the KBO. And this is good because if they can get all these guys for good deals for at least 3 or 4 years each, now you have a solid team that you can focus on.
Yeah.
Right.
So it'll be interesting. If he bet himself, he did good. So, give him a little pay rate. He'll get his multi-year deal. He's 31, so after that he'll be 34. Then he'll probably the couple 2-year, 1-year options after that. So we'll see with that. But
All right. Well, good. So let's move on to the next guy. Next guy I have is Kevin Gausman, another 30-year-old who took a 1-year deal with the Giants, and it looked like it worked out for both those teams, or both parties. He had his best career strikeout rate, posting a 3.62 ERA and a 1.18 ERA plus in 59 and 2/3 innings. His velocity and whiff percentage make him a pretty good free agent in this market who needs starters. And this could be another guy that the Angels could take.
Possibly, but I really think he takes the qualifying offer.
You think so?
He's not going to get $18.9 million from any other team
based on his previous experiences.
1 year in the previous season.
I agree.
So I think this could be like I said, Stroman could be that guy. I honestly think this is almost guaranteed for him if he thinks about money wise to take the deal to prove himself again.
Exactly.
To try to get that multi-year deal next year.
Exactly. If you have back-to-back years, you're good. You're still at 31 years old. Then you can sign a decent contract for sure.
Yeah. I was certain, if not, he's at like that second, like he's really the third starting option really out there. Maybe fourth if you think about a couple other guys. But I really do strongly believe he's going to take that qualifying offer.
Okay. No, and it makes sense for him because, like I said, it's a good deal for you. It's your first time crushing it. I mean, you've been in it. We know who you are, but you're not the best guy. We always think of you at the end of the rotation. So
definitely a third, number 3.
Absolutely, solid number 3. There's nothing to be mad at. I mean,
but you're not going to turn down no $18 million, especially after COVID year. You're not going to get that.
Exactly.
So the next guy we have as number 10 on our list is Tanaka.
Yeah,
he's finally touching the free agency after the big deal to give him to the Yankees. The big when he got posted, coming out of Japan at 26, Yankees won the bidding with that massive 7-year, $155 million deal, complete with the opt-out clause and stuff. But now the contract is up.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, he's 32 years old. Masahiro's been in the league for a little while. He lost some velocity, but anything you can always count on with these Japanese pitchers or these Asian pitchers in general is their splitter. His splitter is the moneymaker. His grip midseason in 2019 had some good results. He's a quality arm. He had some issues giving up the long ball. But all in all, he hasn't had any known issues since mid-2014.
Yeah.
And he hasn't missed a lot of time.
Yeah.
Either.
Remember that possibly torn. Everyone's like, they shut him down. Surgery was not needed yet, and he never got that surgery. 6 years has passed. Everything worked out. But unlike Bauer, Stroman, and Gausman, he did not get a qualifying offer. So that opens the market for him. So you can see, of course, if Yankees going to want to try to bring him back, but then you think Mets, Cubs, Braves, Giants, Angels, Blue Jays, Nationals, Philly, Red Sox, and White Sox as potential suitors.
I would like him for a 3 to 4 year deal.
I have him down for a 3-year, $40 million to the Angels.
Yeah, that'd be good. I don't know if he'll go that cheap though. Maybe a 2-year deal for $40 million. A 3-year deal for $40 million, maybe some incentives in there. I don't know.
Yeah, it all depends on like
3-year $50 million would be okay.
Like I said, this would be a weird winter.
Yeah.
If you're not a top tier free agent,
Oof,
the other
tough.
guys it's going to be long because you're not like the money. What some teams are talking compared to years, it's going to be very interesting winter.
Yeah,
for all these free agencies, and especially even for the 3-4 level tier guys. Like God, they might only get offered like a bare minimum deals. Like it's going to be interesting because teams are saving money. If, like I said, if the report is $3 billion was lost this year,
yeah.
If you're not a New York Mets, you're not willing to spend money. I
agree. So speaking of trying to save money, this next guy might be that candidate. Jake Odorizzi, 31 years old. 2019 he was pretty decent. He had a 3.51 ERA, 1.29 ERA plus, and 30 starts. So he bet on himself by taking a qualifying offer from the Twins this year at $17.8 million, but it did not work out.
Nope.
He had non-arm injuries. He posted a 6.59 ERA in just 4 starts. But with that being said, we saw a lot of injuries this year with pitchers. He just was on the wrong end of it. And if you think he can come back to his glory days of just a year ago of a 3.51 ERA, this could be a steal for a team.
Yes, I do agree. Like, but you think about a year removed, so you get a year less on his arm. Mm-hmm. You still think he could be that guy. You can get a shorter year deal. I have it down for about a 3-year, $40 million deal.
which would, I think, if like I said, I think this year was a fluke for him. A lot of pitchers were in the same situation. They got rushed. They didn't get the right time. I think he'll be the 3.51 ERA guy that we saw at 30. So now he'll be 32 or closer to 32.
Yeah.
I think a team's going to get a good arm out of this guy for a decent price.
Yeah. And like I said, with COVID and stuff, the money is going to be weird this year.
Yeah, agreed.
That's why 3-year, $40 million is about roughly he'll get, and I think it's going to be the Blue Jays.
They could use it for sure. No, and there's nothing wrong with that, man. So if they don't pick him up, somebody will, because pitchers are hard to come by, and if you got the stuff, you got it. And I think this guy's going to have it. He just had a bad luck this year, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I think Blue Jays, besides Ryu and stuff, I think this is another guy that can throw in there that could eat some innings and rebound.
That's what they need.
And tough competition, but he could shine bright.
Well, like you said, a solid number 3 is what he could be for sure.
Yeah. So the next guy is really surprised that he got wavered. All 29 teams didn't pick up his option. Is Liam Hendricks. One of the best relievers in the free agent market. The Australian, 32 in February, boasts a 1.79 ERA with 13.1 Ks per 9 since 2009 for the Athletics. He led all MLB in WAR easily over that period with his 96.4 mile per hour strikeout with 11. Ranks 11th among those who at least got 80 innings.
Look, I don't know what this guy's doing up here. Relievers are hard to come by.
Yes.
This guy is Herculeum. He's a force of nature in Oakland. Over the past 2 seasons, he had a 1.79 ERA. Are we not looking at this? A 1.79 ERA and a 6.71 strikeout to walk ratio.
I was surprised that he didn't get claimed.
In 110 and a third innings.
Yes.
1.79 ERA, 6.71 strikeout to walk ratio. You cannot. I don't know what's going on here, but let's go ahead and get him on the Mets uniform right now. You guys can take somebody from us. You can have Familia. I'm just saying, man, that's too good to be a free agent.
So I roughly think a 3-year, $30 million deal will probably get it done.
Absolutely.
I think it will come down to a bidding war between the Mets and Phillies, and I think Phillies will try to throw more money at them.
And they could look, both of those teams could absolutely use it.
They cost their season with that bullpen.
The same argument can be made with the Mets for years. Every year. I don't know how many times I've been saying it. I think I've been saying it since John Maine was a starter. Oliver Perez was a starter. I said we need pitching and we need a bullpen, and it's not changing. And this guy's too good.
But besides those, you talk about Angels, White Sox, Astros, Giants, Mariners, Marlins, and Nationals, all that need that late inning relief.
Which could bring this guy up to a bidding war where he gets paid more than we're thinking.
Yeah.
Because relief pitching is super hard.
And especially this year, there isn't nothing much. Like, he is the guy in the top 15 free agents.
Exactly.
Then you got like your 2-3 tiers. So
he's the guy you got to lock up.
You got to think about trades.
Right. All right. Well, let's talk about Michael Brantley next. He's 33, so he's getting up there with some of the older guys. He had quad injuries this year.
Yeah.
He had some trouble. He's known as Dr. Smooth. I'm just saying, Michael Brantley. We all remember him from what, the Red Sox, right?
No.
Or is that Jackie Bradley?
Jackie Bradley. He came from
Houston. He had a couple seasons with Houston.
Last couple of years. Who was before that? Because someone didn't do the qualifying offer, and he went to Houston.
Well, either way, he has elite contact rates at 89.8% in the last couple seasons with Houston. Low strikeout rates, 11.4%, so that's great. But that's also when he's healthy. If he can stay healthy, he's great to have.
Cleveland.
That's
who he was with.
Cleveland. Yeah. Yes. Back when they were
18. After the 18 season.
That's it. No, that's too bad, man.
But like you said, the 2-year, $32 million kind of worked out for Houston. It worked out well. But nothing that Brantley signing came across from after the sign stealing, so nothing against him. But of course, the qualifying offer, it helped him get a deal done with the Astros. So, but if you're thinking Braves, Astros, Nationals, Cardinals, Blue Jays, White Sox, Cubs, and Dodgers could be looking at his bat.
I agree.
Ultimately, I think with losing Ozuna, I think he does a 2-year deal with the Braves
for cheap,
for about $28 million.
Exactly. Sounds right.
Because he is that guy. Like I said, Houston's ultimately losing their whole outfield.
Yeah.
With Springer, then we have Michael Brantley, and then Reddick is also up. So they're almost losing their whole outfield. And like I said, I feel like Braves is going to lose Ozuna most likely unless the DH comes back. And who knows? Maybe he loved playing in Atlanta, then he'll resign. Then this won't happen. But if they do lose Ozuna, I think Michael Brantley will fit the position for now.
Okay.
Because he can be the DH and also can be the outfield guy, depending on what happens with the DH scenario in the NL.
All right.
Then the next one we got is Justin Turner.
He's got to be one of the oldest free agents that we're
Even
talking
at
about.
nearly 36 years old, Turner turns a rake this season for the Dodgers. But he had a little dip in power. Among those with at least 3,000 plate appearances from 2014 to present, he ranks 9th in all of baseball, just behind Bryce Harper. It's remarkable consider the journeyman prior to landing in L.A. It's hard to picture Dodgers letting Turner go, but if they do, look at Nationals and Braves would be good fits.
Now, when he gets signed somewhere, if you're saying the Nationals or Braves, are you assuming that he's still going to be a third baseman? Because he's starting to slow down. He's making great plays.
Yeah.
He absolutely did this postseason. But he's hot corner. You can't be slow at that spot. Can he convert to a first baseman? I don't know.
I don't see why not.
Or is he going to be a DH somewhere?
I can see where if he does go to like the Braves, for example,
okay,
he could fill in that third base spot that left Josh Donaldson. Austin Riley has had some success, but also has some failures. Could he be a mentor to him for a season and then transition if it's a 2-year deal to another position or the DH?
That's what I like. Yes, because I think if he does go somewhere as the third baseman, it's going to be the 1-year third baseman until somebody else gets here. So if they got to transition someone,
so if
fine.
it is just 1 year without the DH in the National League, which is the last year of the collective bargaining agreement, is this coming up season, then the DH comes the season after that. He could become the DH after that in a National League team.
That'd be perfectly fine.
I really think he does stay in LA. It's about a 2-year deal, $24 million. I think is roughly what's going to get it done.
Right, and that's the reason he stays because he's going to be affordable at this time, and they know what they're getting.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
And he could, and like I said, he doesn't have to be the everyday third baseman here soon too, because Dodgers are a slew of players that they can plug and play.
Absolutely,
Mookie's even playing infield this year, so who knows what happens next year?
Mookie's not playing third base, but
no. But I'm just saying, like he played so many different positions.
I got you. All right, well, look, the last guy we want to talk about tonight is Marcus Semien, 30-year-old. What do you got about him?
He reaches free agency after 6 years with the A's, starting shortstop. He settled in as a speedy, durable, league average bat with solid defense until he broke out with his 33 home runs last year. That season ended up third place MVP, but he was able to repeat this past season. He never really lit up the StatCast. This year, all around about 10th percentile in most batting metrics. Exploring the free agent offer will be free of a qualifying offer, so that won't deny him. He could seek a 1-year deal to try to prove himself. So if it's not the A's, you got to think about Angels, Blue Jays, Phillies, Reds, and Yankees could be suitors.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's normally an impact player, and he's at a premier position. His defense has been getting better every year. Yeah. He had a breakout offensively year, but you don't need him to have a crazy good offensive year. You just need to be consistent. So what do you think he might land?
I think he might end up back in Oakland for another 1 year.
Okay.
He is a Bay Area native. He'll probably take a somewhat discount to try to get a year to prove himself. Maybe they get a deal done next. Like he has a great year and a multi-year offer during the season. But honestly, I think he does do the 1-year deal to try to prove himself.
Okay. Yeah, I think that'd be good for him. Like you said, he needs to prove himself after having a bad year this year. So we'll see what happens. And like I said, if he gets any offer, you better think of it wisely because, like you said, who knows what kind of money's going to be thrown around this season. All right.
Yeah, because like I said, like a lot of people feel like the top tier guys, about 5 guys, will get their money.
Yeah, absolutely.
The second 3, 4 guys, it might be a dark winner.
Or it could be great for a team that's willing to pay in this situation. So it could turn the table for another team. Yeah. Like, who knows? All of a sudden, the Pirates might have money and get 5 of these guys. And then what? Oh, my Lord.
Or one owner says, go for it. Cause
that's what I'm saying. Like, why not? This could be a year that turns around for somebody.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. And then we'll talk a little off topic real quick. Steve Cohen, our new owner. Did you see what he did this weekend on Twitter?
I saw his wife was saying something about how they.
He went on Twitter and says, "Tell me what to make."
Oh yeah,
better.
That's right. I did see that,
and I laughed at one. One guy's like, "Let me get unbanned from the stadium."
Okay.
I was like, oh, well, let me read. It's like apparently he got banned from talking on Twitter about the Wilpons. The Wilpons banned him from the stadium, him and his family.
That's crazy.
And of course, Steve's like, oh, we'll get this fixed.
Nice.
A couple things are like, he said a loyalty program. He said, oh, that'd definitely be in the works. Possibly like slashing some of the, they have like a discount beverage night like some minor league stadiums do that try to, because costs of, he said something about in the parking lot where Shea used to be, you can see the home run, the bases. He said it could be a possibility where they put the catch from the 69 to end the World Series. Ooh. That could be there. And even the Buckner ball, where that could have been the ball where it landed. And then he's more iffy of the history of the Mets will be more retiring more numbers, statues, and then even about putting more of more friendly around the area, like building it up.
Yeah.
He's a lot of stuff he's willing, and he has the money.
Look, it's about time, man.
I was like, wow, you're going on Twitter and asking fans, and people were answering. He was answering them.
Well, that's great. At least we're getting some kind of owners that really care about the team kind of thing.
It's going to be interesting. I can't wait. We'll see what this, he's probably making moves.
Well, I did see his wife posted, like I said, like she's like in 2015. It's crazy to think that we were like, the Mets
the
are
World Series.
Yeah, and then now they own the team.
Yeah,
how nuts is that, man?
5 years later, we were celebrating as fans, as part owners.
Great story, huh?
And now we're 96% owners of the team.
Yeah, man, that's what's up.
But like we said, this is gonna be weird all season. We'll see what the winter meetings do. It's gonna be a while. They'll probably watch see what Corona does. What the fans going to happen come, next year. It's going to be interesting, but we'll at least going to have one more episode this season. So next week will probably be the final episode. We'll break down these end of season baseball writer awards. The Gold Gloves just came out, so we'll talk about that. So most likely the Silver Sluggers will come out by then.
Yep.
It'll pretty much be an end of the year awards ceremony kind of episode. So we'll see y'all next week. All right, peace.
Peace.
Yeah. Ay, coming in. Yeah.